Chilling in the rain, chilling in the rain. Except I'm in my vehicle, so I'm not getting wet. Cheers to everybody. This is just black coffee, so not big deal. It's funny how we talk about quantum science, right? Quantum mechanics. You ever heard of the slit or the that slit experiment where the particles change just upon observation? It's so funny how there's certain people whose behavior changes when they know they're being watched, but they act a certain way when they're not being watched. But when they know they're being watched, you start to act a certain way. But how do you know even when there's nobody around that there's nobody watching you? There's always somebody watching you. Who can you lie to, right? Because the only person you can lie to is yourself. But lying to yourself, you're really lying to everything in existence that you know of. Because everything in existence is nothing but an extension of what you think you are when you look at it in the mirror. See, the whole thing is that we look at, for example, I made a video on women being a technology created by man, right? When we look back at Adam and Eve and this whole creation story, women was created, or Adam or Eve was created to complement Adam, right? When you look at, for example, everything in existence that we have created is technology. And I've mentioned this in videos that the further and further, the more we get into the technology, we fall in love with the creation of what we have created, and we associate with it so much that we get further and further away from God. Why was technology created? To complement man, to make life easier, right? So we use this technology created in the image of man. And I can say this because when you look at AI robots such as Sophia, or, you know, whatever AI robots you see outside of yourself, they are a technology created by man in the image of man. And when you look at man, man was created in the image of God. But when you look at it the other way around, okay, God was created by man in the image of God, which means you're the real God, right? But the thing is, we started to associate ourselves with this human vessel, this human body. See, again, when you start to fall in love with the creations of what you've created, such as technology, Sophia and whatnot, we actually merge and associate ourselves with technology. This is why I say you're merging with AI, okay? And the more you merge with AI, the further and further you get away from humanity. And that's basically you getting further and further away from God as well, okay? And when you look at, for example, the things that are created, through AI, for example, the metaverse, that's going to be basically, it won't be necessary for you to utilize your imagination, right? We can look at the simple things. I grew up in the stages of the beepers. I remember that I had about 33 phone numbers memorized. And now, I mean, you don't have to memorize anything because everything's stored in your smartphone, in your cell phone. When you leave your house and you forget your phone, you kind of feel naked without it, right? Whenever you want to refer to information, you always want to refer to Google, right? To find out the answers to whatever questions you have. So we kind of depend on this technology as if it was God. And we put our energy outside of ourselves in many different areas, such as the school systems, the medical industry, because whenever we are sick, we say, I have to go to a doctor. And then you put all your faith and trust into what doctors tell you when they're not even really healers. That business is designed to make money off of you. And I'm not a medical doctor. None of my stuff is backed up by medical science or medical claims, so do your own research. Don't listen to a goddamn word I'm saying. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. So when you look at, for example, everything else, right? The planet was created in your image as well. So when you look at, for example, the soil, the microbiome, the plants, the ecosystem, everything, it looks like your human body. This is why they say man comes from the soil, man dies, he goes back to the soil. Now, here's the funny thing, though. Whenever you're looking at technology or the world outside of you, they say you're born into sin. But the reason why is because Adam and Eve were one, okay? We're one. And in this run, we could call it the dreamlike state. There was no time. There was no space. It was just all done through frequency, vibration, and energy. Okay? When that whole entire creation where God wanted to experience himself in creation through many different versions or aspects of itself, all right, it basically created the female. This split now, automatically now you have space and time, okay? Because now you have space between two people, okay? So when you have this separation, the woman, okay, the woman was a manifestation of Adam. Adam is a manifestation of the word of God. Okay. But man, okay, had this emotion, okay, and this feeling and created the woman out of that space. I made the example in the video. I said that whenever you're in a dream and you feel a certain way, you may manifest certain people in your dreamlike state, right? But the people don't matter. It depends on how you feel and what you're feeling around the spaces, people, places, and things in the environment is, because there really is no people there. There's no people there. They just appeared there. If you dream of, like, let's say any famous model, you know, a female model, and she's in your dream, she's not really in a place. She just appeared in your head, right? So you're dreaming about this, but let's say you don't like the person. That person will manifest there because of how you feel. But the moment you change your feeling in the dream, that person morphs into somebody that you do like and appreciate in your waking state, because it's happened to me. And you may even meet people that you have intimate relationships with there, that when you wake up, you're like, yo, why did I feel certain things about these people when I was there? But I wake up and I don't even know these people at all. But you had intimate relationship with these people, right? So the same thing here now in this waking state that you're in now, this 3D realm, it's the same concept, only it doesn't manifest right away because you're under the illusion of space and time. So things will take time to manifest. They have already manifested, right? But now you would have to maintain your focus and frame for things to actually manifest in your reality. And this can happen in a paradigm shift, or it may take a little bit of time. It just depends on the energy and the focus you have toward the project or projection you have. Because that's why we have projects. We work on our projects for that reason. We put time, energy, and space into it, right? You put feelings and emotions behind it. You put your blood, sweat, and tears, which is part of the emotional and essence of what you are and what you're made of, right? So this human vessel, for example, whenever I talk about energy, frequency, and vibration, I talk about masculine and feminine energy. I'm not talking about genders. They're just basically there to complement each other. Okay, this whole religious structure was designed around that entire chemistry or science of masculine and feminine energy. Okay, so this is why they don't want you to embark in left-hand path thing and whatnot. Everybody's on the left-hand path. Everybody's working through their shadows and, you know, their demons and whatnot, whether you're aware of it or not. There's people who say, I'm on a spiritual journey, so now all of a sudden I'm going through the dark night of the soul. You are basically putting more awareness to what's in the dark, and it's not that it was never there. You're just aware of it now. So people may say, I may start to manifest, my life getting chaotic and whatnot. It's always been like that. You're just putting more light to it now, so it's manifesting into the weaknesses of what you are. It's kind of like this. When you're doing a detox or you're on a journey to, like, let's say, cleanse your body out, you may go through detox symptoms, but this is not to say that you're getting sick. It's just your weaknesses are being exposed. So now your body's working through them to eliminate them. So it's the same thing whenever you're doing any type of shadow work and whatnot. Whatever's been in the closet has always been there. You're just not aware of it. You're putting light to it now. So now you're aware of it. Your life has always been chaotic. Everything's chaos. You are very good. This is why when you were created, God created man and it was very good, right? And then all of a sudden, and woman's a kind of man, by the way. Okay. So we're not talking about genders. But you're born in a world where everything is evil. And I'm not talking about evil the way you're taught in religion evil is. Evil. You either associate with this evil and act out upon the evils of the world, or you are basically what you are, which is naturally good. You are good. Okay? You're a light being. Okay? But yet as a whole, you are negative energy. You are the feminine energy. Because you're part of mankind. But when you're born again of the Father, or you overcome humanity, you're the one. You are now looking at things from a bird's eye view, from God's eye point of view. Okay? So we're not talking about genders here. But then there's people who say that they're in a chaotic state, they're in hell, right? And they depend on somebody to lead them out of hell. Okay? Or how long does that process take and whatnot? It depends on who's leading that individual. Okay, it's all about who is leading that individual determines the amount of time that person remains in hell or whatnot. Some people may be impactful for other people. Some people may not. But at the end of the day, you got to look for this shit within yourself. And here's the thing. When it comes down to the people that you may attract in your life to get you out of that space, it's not that these people are bigger than you. They are you. It's just that you positioned yourself in the space that you attracted a aspect or a version of yourself that's getting you out of that hell. That's why they say that when the student is ready, the guru appears, but the real guru is you. You have to know that that guru is speaking through you, okay, in another form. That's all it is. It's just kind of like a relationship. When you're in a relationship with a toxic ass individual, you attract who you are. And unless you change yourself, you'll keep attracting the same person in another body. So the evils of the world, humanity is in a cycle. That's why you go through seasons and they're repetitive. The only thing that keeps you bound to this are the memories, right? And that's why we build memorials around certain things to keep the system moving. Okay, you think that you have options whenever it comes down to politics and government and whatnot to vote, right? So you have to vote between A and B. There's people who don't like either parties, but yet just to be a voter, just to say I am an American fulfilling my duties, they'll go and vote anyway, even if they don't like either parties. So you were never really given an option. You're given an option to keep the system moving, the matrix. And the whole thing is it needs your participation at all costs. It doesn't matter what it is. It's going to need your participation. So you're born into sin because God wanted to experience himself in creation. Nothing wrong with that though. Nothing wrong with that. But through the chaos and through the corruption and through the evils is how you realize yourself. Through that chaos. There's been times where I had this conversation with somebody just recently. If you were to meet with the devil, right? How do you know what questions to ask the devil? How would you know what questions to ask the devil if you had one opportunity to connect with that deity or even God, let's say? You know what's funny? You would have to literally become the devil, okay? Because you will realize that you are that devil the whole time and you are that omnipresence or God the whole entire time. But for you to ask the right questions, you have to be that. If you are putting yourself as a human and looking at that as a higher speed, you wouldn't even know what the fuck questions to ask. It will be a lost opportunity. When you ask Google, if you ask the wrong questions, you will get wrong answers. Because if you type in, I'll give you an example. Let's say I type in on Google, what causes diabetes? You'll probably get a bunch of sugar names pop up. But if you ask a direct question, which I'll get into a video on diabetes and sugar processing and all that, because it's actually pretty important. Because you want to get the sweetness out of life, the nectar. But you motherfuckers are taking the GMO processed shit that's actually giving you a fucking dopamine rush or the same effects that it has on your brain as crack cocaine does. Because when you eat artificial or processed sugars, it has the same effect on your brain as cocaine does. So when you eat the sugars of life, you're getting real true information without some distorted filters. So check this out. If you ask Google, does animal protein cause diabetes? You'll see meta-analysis showing that this is the real leading root cause of diabetes. Is because what is diabetes? Diabetes is fat in the cells, right? But here's the thing though, if I told somebody, well then go on a watermelon fast, they'll say, well, what about the sugars there? There's too much sugars in watermelon, there's too much sugars in grapes. And yes, there's sugars in those things. But the whole thing is that if you're eating that with something else like animal protein and what, you're complexing the chemistry now. It is no longer a simple chemistry. And aside from that, you're not going to find any studies to show that if you ate only watermelons or only grapes, you're going to get diabetes. But you'll find meta-analysis showing that if you eat only animal protein in an abundance of it and your body can't process it, you'll actually end up getting diabetic. Okay, you're more than likely prone to getting diabetic. And I'm not a medical doctor. Do your own research. But here's the important part. People don't understand that when you eat watermelons and grapes, they have a lower glycemic index. Okay, there's a lower glycemic index in these things. And the high water content is what's very important here, right? To flush out toxins out of the body. So you're talking about chemistry here. You're introducing a chemistry into the body. See, here's the funny part though. You stand on the soil, you give out negative ions. You give out positive ions, you attract the negative ions. So it's not to say one is bad and good. They have their properties and their chemistry when it's needed. You get what I'm saying? So for example, you could walk around and be a positive light being, but where is it rooted out of? What type of negative energy is it rooted out of? Right? If it's rooted out of the religious type of negative energy that you think of, or this distorted negative energy, your positive energy is weak. Because real positive energy, you should be able to take over the fucking planet if you want to. You'd be able to take up arms and you're really in masculine energy. I'm talking about real alpha shit. I'm big dick energy. Where nobody better be taking my shit when I say big dick energy, because you don't even know what the fuck that is. That's the lightning rod, right? That's the lightning rod. The real life force energy. The lightning stick. The real shit that measures your fucking life force out of there. Because some people, they want to go and perform and they cannot get a fucking erection. That also tells you a lot about your vitality. A lot about your energy. It's a sex drive. It's a different type of energy. It's a life force energy that's cultivated there. And it's not to say that you have to, no FAP and, and semen retention and none of that ridiculous shit. That's not even a thing. That's a religion that people made up. But I'm not telling you that it's beneficial for you to go jack off all day or have sex all day. That's not what I'm saying. Because don't forget, energy flows where attention goes. And when your energy is focused on self, you're gaining a certain type of power and energy for yourself. All right. But this big dick energy is coming from a balanced root chakra. And this will come down into many, many layers that can actually benefit you in many different aspects of the game, including structure and stability in your life in the form of monetary gains that you think is an illusion, but yet you utilize it in your everyday life to basically measure your success, right? But only to participate in the game. Only to participate in the game. That's the whole thing. Because money's just paper. It's just an idea. But you're nothing but an idea as well. And how credible and important are you as an individual? It only determines on how much credibility and importance you put to yourself first. And then others can see you in that way. Money, if you don't put importance to money, it won't put importance to you as well as far as energy goes. See, you got to treat it like a bitch, man. Compliments man. That's all it does. The woman ain't real. Yet, here's what's fucking crazy, though. A lot of the things we're eating are GMO foods. And I wanted to make this in a separate video, right? But what you eat becomes you, and what becomes you, you're eating, right? So basically, when you're eating a lot of this GMO shit, it affects your mentality. It distorts your mentality. And many of the things that we think are healthy, because they're not fucking animal based or whatnot, or these vegans try to promote it as health foods, they're really GMO foods. They're really plastic, and it's really jacking your mind up. See, because here's the thing, we can go into basically distortions as far as liking same sexes and whatnot, or let's say transgenderism and all that kind of shit. Everybody has power in their own rights, but it's still a distortion. It's not in harmony because it's an abomination to nature. This is why religion is so against, let's say, gays and transgenders and all that fly shit. But it's because it's an abomination to the matrix to keep it going. I've observed the two minds of God. One wants to seek, destroy, and smash, and even take over. And we look at that as the bad guy. And then the other one wants to be love and light, harmony, and, wonders and magic of the, beautiful, loving frequency and whatnot. And we look at that as the good guy. But that's the one that wants to keep you here, trapped in the same loops of harmony, because you associate with harmony, right? And this should be a natural thing without you having to associate with it. Okay, your body will just not you see how in the springtime your hormones just naturally tend to be a lot better, and you tend to basically stay in tune with nature. These are the natural natures, right? But then we have the Christmas season, we have New Year's,